We don't want to be doing a Labour position where we just, we start getting endless cycles of borrowing, 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 because somebody at some point has to pay that back.
The cheek of it! The cheek of it! Who's paying for the 37 billion on test and trace, Nadeem? Eh? Who's paying for the wasted money on... Are you turning, or... Greetings and welcome. So we have two by-elections coming up. Two by-elections. One in Devon, because Tory MPs can't seem to stop themselves from watching porn in Parliament and getting on with running the country. They just can't stop themselves. They have to watch porn in Parliament. It doesn't matter they're in Parliament. They have to watch porn.
Funnily enough, it was tractors I was looking at.
The second in Wakefield, because another thing, Tory MPs can't seem to stop themselves from sexually assaulting 15-year-old boys. In the case of Imran Khan, that's now in prison. I can't believe these words are actually coming out of my mouth, but the sad state is... Go on, mate. Go on. The sad thing is, it's just normal, isn't it? We've just normalised. This is normal. Oh, there's another by-election. Oh, another by-election? What? Another Tory MP done some sexual assault stuff? Yeah, another Tory MP done some sexual assault stuff. Oh, okay. Can't stop themselves, can they? It's just fucking normal. It's just normal. Absolutely normal. I can't get my head around it. But what really interested me is I wanted to find out how these guys that are running for the Tories in these areas are dealing with this, because this must be hard. I mean, are they going door to door? Are they going, hi, you still vote for us, won't you? You're not worried about that sexual assault stuff? We're still good. We're still good.
This is a tough fight for the Tories. We caught up with the party's candidate, Nadine Ahmed, on the doorstep in Muddlestown.
The reason why we're having this by-election is because the previous Conservative MP was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. I mean, the Tories deserve to lose this election, don't they?
No, they don't, because Mr. Khan, for his offences, was the right things happened to him. He's in prison, which is the right place. As a teacher, a father, and as a human being, what he did was wrong. It was disgusting. And the people of Wakefield know that he was one bad apple.
Yeah, but it's not just one bad apple, though, is it? 8 Tory MPs over the last 3 years. 8 Tory MPs have been involved in sexual assault, rape and sexual misconduct charges. 8. And that's just the ones we know about. That's just the ones that got caught, let alone the ones that we don't know about. They're hiding this stuff as best they can. So a few have come through. God knows how many more there are than 8. And this is just over the last 3 years.
As you know, Harold Shipman committed suicide in Wakefield Prison. He was a GP, one of the most a trusted professional like teachers and others. When we put that, when they put a vaccine in our arm, we trust what they're putting in us. Have we stopped trusting GPs? No, we still trust GPs.
The biggest issue for a lot of voters, I would imagine, is the cost of living crisis. Should the government be doing more to cut taxes and make things cheaper for people?
I'm a low tax Tory. I've always believed that more money of people's need to be spent in the pocket.
If you're a low-tax Tory, you must be pretty disappointed with Rishi Sunak. He keeps putting them up. I mean, we've got the highest tax burden in this country since the Second World War. If you get into Parliament as an MP, you're going to be standing on the backbenches telling him to put them down again.
The fact remains, under the coalition government and the successive Conservative governments, we've taken more people out of the tax burden. We don't want to be doing a Labour position where we just, we start getting endless cycles of borrowing, because somebody at some point has to pay that back.
The cheek of it! The cheek of it! Who's paying for the 37 billion on test and trace, Nadeem? Eh? Who's paying for the wasted money on... Are you turning, or... Yeah? You got that turn right, have you? Just about? Who's paying for it, Nadeem? Who's paying for the PPE? Yeah? It's the taxpayers, isn't it? Who's paying for the 11 billion that Rishi Sunak fucked up on? But he didn't put any insurance out and inflation rises. Who's paying for that, Nadeem? Who's paying for that stupid yacht that they built? Who's paying for that, Nadeem? Yeah, it's the taxpayers, isn't it? What about the 16 million on the New York pad for the UK diplomat to finally get this bloody US trade deal? Who's paying for that, Nadeem?
We don't want to be doing a Labour position where we just, we start getting endless cycles of borrowing, because somebody at some point has to pay that back.
I'm also bloody sick of this trope about Labour being the borrowing party. Have I got to pull out the graph again? I've got to pull out the graph again, haven't I? The bloody graph. Look at the graph. Look at the graph. The Tories have borrowed way more than Labour when they've come into power in 2010. They still bring out this same old trope about Labour being the borrowing party.
We don't want to be doing a Labour position where we just, we start getting endless cycles of borrowing, 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 getting endless cycles of borrowing.
Oh, mate. He's the one for Wakefield. What about the one in Devon, that Tiverton and Toff? Tiverton and Toff in Devon.
Over in the blue camp, the Tories have selected Helen Herford, a former schoolteacher. She's keen to keep talking about local politics, but on the doorstep, it's the national issues that dominate.
If you were to win this by-election next week, you become a Conservative Member of Parliament, you're joining a party which is pretty unpopular at the moment in a lot of places, a lot of scandals. And don't you feel a bit embarrassed to be a Conservative at the moment?
No, not at all. It's the only party that has aspirations. It's the only party that I can see that is encouraging people to grow and invest in themselves. And that's being a teacher. That's what I always taught the children in my schools. And that's what I think a Conservative represents.
See, when I listen to this one, I find myself thinking, does she really believe this? You know, the Tories are the party of innovation and with all the things that I just listed before. I mean, does she generally believe that? I mean, she's a head teacher. She must be an intelligent person. Or does she think, I quite fancy being an MP and I live in Devon, so the only chance of doing that is running for the Tories? Because I don't get it. I don't get how an intelligent person like her, a head teacher, can think that the Tories are the party of integrity. And I guess she's got that principle of working hard and go getting what you want, working hard for what you want in life. You'll reap the rewards. You know, she's a teacher. If you study hard, you'll reap the rewards. You'll get a good job and good pay in life. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course there's not. There's nothing wrong with that. But what's wrong with that is thinking that the Tories are the ones that are going to bring that, especially for the normal working person. They're not going to bring prosperity for hard workers. If your kids are working hard, yeah, and they might get to university, with the Tories in charge, they're going to be saddled with an insane amount of debt. That's the party that you're going for. So that's what makes me think that she just quite fancies being an MP. She's like, yeah, that would be quite nice. I quite like the idea of that, you know, getting up in Parliament would be nice, wouldn't it?
I've been to a lot of votes in this country. The moment the Conservatives represent people who are breaking the lockdown rules that they themselves have set. You know, I mean, you're a teacher, you teach the kids the rules, right? And then they break them. Those kids would expect to be punished for it. And, you know, there are many who would say that the government deserves to be electorally punished for what happened over
There has
lockdown.
been the Sue Gray report. I wasn't impressed either by the lockdown parties. You know, like you say, I'm a head teacher, I am one for the rules. I think our Prime Minister has made the big calls and he's made some really difficult calls. So when we have big decisions, he is making the right calls.
What calls did he get right? What calls did he get right exactly? I'd love to know. Was it the herd immunity at the start, not shutting down the nursing homes, needless deaths? Was it that part he got right? What a big call. Bloody Nadine Dorries comes out with this one all the time as well, doesn't it? She's turning into Nadine Dorries. She's an intelligent head teacher. She must have a bit of intelligence. Do you really want to turn into Nadine Dorries?
Look at my face. Look at my face. I ain't even bothered. Look at my face.
Is that what you see yourself in the future? What big calls has he got right? What big calls? What? We mentioned it before, the 37 billion wasted on test and trace. Was that a big call that he got right? Handing that over to his whatever Tory donors got that contract when it should have gone to fucking Google or something, someone that would have actually done the job properly, efficiently and well. Was that the big call that he got right? And what about Brexit in general? Did he get Northern Ireland right? Did he? With the protocol, did he get that big call right? Did he? Because I think he fucked it up. But what about just Brexit in general? He's the one that pushed for it. Did he get that right? Is that a good prosperous thing for this country now? We've just come out of a pandemic. Every other country is now shooting up in their economy and ours is drastically falling, predicted to be worse only by Russia down below because we put sanctions on ourselves. Was that the big call that he got right? Was it? She must just want to be an MP. That's what I keep saying. That's the only thing I can think of. Because she must have intelligence. The other guy, to be honest, he sounded thick as pig shit. But do they expect to lose that one in Wakefield? I don't know. Well, it was Labour before, but then they've still got to turn these Tory voters back to Labour, which they probably can't do. I don't know whether the Lib Dems are fighting it, but the Lib Dems are fighting the Devon one hard though. They are fighting it hard, but I think I got the stat. I think it was 70% of the electorate in that Devon constituency are over 65. One guy said, you've already got a Tory elected once the postal votes get in. You don't even have to bother counting the others because they've already won by that point anyway. What's your guys' thoughts? I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I just find it fascinating just listening to these new candidates trying to persuade people to vote for a party that has had 8 MPs involved in sexual misconduct in the last 3 years. Oh, don't worry that he assaulted a 15-year-old. I'm not going to do that. Don't worry that he spends his time watching porn in Parliament. I'm going to stick up for the rights of the constituency. I said this before. Any other walk of life, you'd boycott this operation. If over 3 years, 8 of its members had been involved in sexual misconduct. I said before, if this was your gym, if you went down the gym and 8 of the instructors there have come down in sexual assault charges, rape charges, and sexual misconduct chances, you think, you know what? I think I might join a new gym. So why is that not the same in a political party that you choose? I can't get over it. I can't get over any justification for these Tories any longer. You can't do it. You just can't. Anyway, ran over. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for all your fags. Thanks for your super thanks. I'm ever getting closer to my new camera now. I appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, there's a thanks button down below. Till next time, take care.